Okay, so welcome everyone to our seventh TAN Council recurring meeting. For today's meeting, we'll have an update on TANIP 1, some TANIP 2 discussion, and some open discussion at the end. Firstly, however, let's start with an overview of the TAN Council and the purpose of these recurring meetings. These recurring meetings serve five critical functions. Firstly, they provide transparency to our community. They create a structured forum for proposal discussions, enabling authors to present to the council and community and to discuss, debate, and refine for formal proposal and voting with consensus. Thirdly, they enable regular platform updates. They ensure consistent communication amongst all council members. And finally, they allow direct community engagement through question and answer sessions. The Town Council is a local governance organisation within the Telcoin platform. Together, we serve as a provider and administrator of collective goods and services within the jurisdictional domain of the Telcoin Application Network, or TAN. The TAN Council, with our 6 members, makes decisions related to TAN improvements and policies through the TANIP process. We need 5 out of 6 votes to approve proposals within a 120-hour voting period. Our primary duties are to allocate TEL issuance on TAN for stakers and developers to harvest, and plan and finance the development of the Telcoin application network. Our key responsibilities include reviewing and voting on snapshot proposals, attending these bi-weekly meetings, providing regular community updates, monitoring TAN systems, and enforcing operational rules. We use Discord for day-to-day communication, the forum for informal proposal discussions, these recurring council meetings for proposal discussions, deliberation and refinement, and snapshot for formal voting. Overall, the TAN Council has authority over mine harvesting and planning and financing TAN infrastructure. So, let's hop right in. First thing on our list today, as Kopisim mentioned, was we have a TANIP 1 update. So it was mentioned briefly on the Discord, but basically the first TANIP issuance has had to be postponed. We had trouble scheduling a timeline with an auditor that we trust. Don't worry though, you and your network's trading activity this week has not gone unnoticed, and Marcus is currently running the calculation script, and we will publish those results very soon. So we should have basically a list of addresses and associated issuance. So that issuance is now basically planned, and that will be distributed once the audit has passed. It's just us not wanting to take any kind of risk, any unnecessary risk. So that document, I think it might be a Google spreadsheet. Worst case scenario, it will just be on GitHub. Best case scenario will be a Google Doc that I can share with everyone. That should be out sometime tomorrow, I'm aiming for. And I'll post it in the Discord when it's ready, so everyone should see that. The audit is expected to be completed within the next 2 weeks. So over this time, we'll continue to calculate and post the results on the same weekly cadence as planned. Utku can shed a bit more light on the situation. He's here and he is the master security guy, so yeah.
Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you for your kind words. So, in our case, the delay is solely due to challenge of the scheduling the timeline with the top tier auditors we trust. That's the reason. And I can give you the update on that. So we want to get an audit of the batcher contract. So our smart contract has already undergone through the testing and the review, and I can say we are confident that there is no security issue identified, but we want to catch the highest standard in here. We always do the routinely do the additional audits just to make sure everything's fine from the external party. So we get in touch with them. We shared the smart contract. We are just trying to schedule what's the best time, and I'm really pushing on that to do the as soon as possible with the good auditors. And it's just a safeguarding to make sure that everything's good. There's no security issues. I mean, even if you have a security audit in the security area, like there is no bulletproof solution, but you should definitely mitigate the risk, I can say. That's why we try to mitigate the risk by working with the top tier auditors in here. Um, um, so yeah, that's the thing I can share, but I
Nice.
think the rewards timeline remains unchanged, and rewards will still be calculated and shared with you weekly until the distribution occurs, I can say. And full distribution is guaranteed, so all tokens will be distributed as planned once the audit is successfully completed, I can say. So I
Awesome.
just need a little patience in here to make sure that we have the audit from the external party.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you very much for that. And just to answer Boo Classic's question there, I believe the bit we're actually getting audited is the kind of batcher contract, which kind of will actually disperse all the tokens. Is that right, Utku? So it won't be a claim, it will be they will just kind of be airdropped almost.
That's correct.
Yeah, perfect. Hopefully that answers your question, Boo. Perfect. Good, good. Um, yeah, thank you, Utku, and thank you for keeping us safe. So yeah, we'll get that all sorted, and the TANIP assurance will be live soon. Don't worry. So moving on, we kind of I wanted to discuss TANIP 2. Don't know if it's technically allowed to be called TANIP 2 yet, but I think we can roll with that. So this TANIP is titled Proposal for Incentivizing New App Developers Through Sign-On Cost Coverage. So this TANIP was brought to life by Crypto Stevo following from our last meeting, and it's really been great to see the involvement and discussion on the forums from a lot of the members of the community. This one feels like a real community-led improvement proposal, which I'm really here for, and it's really nice to see. Um, I think it's got a lot of potential, and I think it could really benefit Telcoin as a whole and provide some great potential for synergies with other businesses as well as the GSMA. So I know Crypto Stevo had a few things he wants to mention and discuss. Um, Crypto Stevo, if you want to take it away.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. And to your point, this has really been a council initiative. I know, Leo, you've mentioned it a few times, and Parker's mentioned it a few times, and I think we've all backed that as a good initiative to try to drive innovation and developers getting on board and making it a bit easier and less cost prohibitive to do so with the GSMA membership costs that are usually are going to be tied to that. So just to, I won't go through the proposal verbatim. We can all read it, and I know we've had some good feedback after posting, and some of the questions that came up we can discuss. But to the point, I'll kind of bullet point it as we go through it. So part of the abstract, I think, the takeaway is by spearheading this initiative through the TAN forum and Discord channels as our online portal and having the TAN Council serve as the application reviewers, we aim to lower entry barriers, foster innovation with the Telecoin ecosystem, and support our broader mission of building a vast and diverse developer network. So this proposal outlines the program's objectives, rationale, implementation steps, and financial requirements. So the objective, obviously it's kind of self-explanatory. What we're trying to do is encourage developers to come on board to the application network and develop there. And what we want to do is help foster that transaction and getting them on board, helping them with the upfront costs of what it's going to do or what it's going to take to participate in the application network. So the primary objective for the TAN Council, incentivize new app developers of covering the initial sign-on costs, especially the significant GSMA membership fees. This initiative will reduce financial hurdles, encourage high-quality participation, and accelerate the development of applications. The rationale, and these are just bullet pointed, driving talent acquisition, enhancing credibility and networking, which I think is a very important one. GSMA membership offers developers valuable industry access, including participation in events and networking opportunities that are critical for integrating Telcoin's technology into the global mobile systems. As we know, the GSMA partnership is very much upfront and critical, mission critical for the Telcoin ecosystem. So accelerating ecosystem growth, by reducing some of those upfront costs, we think we're going to stimulate some rapid app development and expand Telcoin's reach. The incentive details, as mentioned before, covering the membership fees and GSMA barrier, the TAN Council would provide full or partial reimbursement for the annual GSMA membership fee, and that's estimated at about $15,000 per application or per developer per year. So, and this is a year one proposal. This isn't an ongoing. We definitely want to do some cost analysis, do a return on investment calculation, see if this program is valuable for the TAN Council. So. Eligibility criteria, this would be open to new app developers joining the Telcoin ecosystem and this is critical, with a clearly defined project or concept. So the applicants would have to submit a proposal via the TAN forum channel detailing how their app would integrate into the service and contribute to the community's goals. Again, I think these are critical elements on what the TAN Council can provide and oversight for developers that are applying for this for the monies. Again, the initiative would be piloted for a 12-month period, with us evaluating it at the end of the 12 months. The announcement and implementation and guidelines. This is one of the questions I want to open to the rest of the council. We had some good feedback from Ty, and let me get into this a little bit. So the TAN Council will publish official program guidelines in the TAN forum and Discord channels, and this would be detailing eligibility, the application procedure, and reimbursement policies. So the question, and maybe I'll hold it to the end, or maybe we can hold the answers to or your comments and input to the end. But would we want to separate this into two improvement proposals, meaning that we put forth this proposal as the budgetary means, and then a second proposal for the guardrails, guidelines, and how we execute the initiative. So that's where I really want to open up the floor to the community and as well as the other 10 council members. So I'll address that again at the end, bring it back up. So the application verification process, developers would submit their applications directly to the TAN Forum Council. Council will serve as the application reviewers. Again, this all goes to if we want to divide and conquer this, if we want this to be the budgetary side of it and then the execution side of it. The reimbursement setup, they would establish a transparent process whereby approved developers can submit receipts for the GSMA membership fees, and we could coordinate that with the Telcoin finance team to make sure that everybody gets reimbursed accurately and quickly as possible, and also the council and compliance with compliance and council oversight. Monitoring and evaluation, we would want to track the participation, app development process, and overall ecosystem impact through periodic reviews, but we also want to make sure that we do that upfront work and we're making sure that the application is cohesive to the ecosystem, as well as representative of the partnership with GSMA. Um, Quarterly budget utilization reports, this isn't an open-ended funding initiative. I do have some cost analysis below with the financial resources and budget. And I would estimate that we would, in year one, potentially target and try to recruit 5 application developers, which would be a cost of about $75,000. I also included some additional sign-on costs. I don't know if there will be, but that would just be between $500 and $1,000 per developer as well, just to slate the budget for it. So total estimated budget on this would be $75,000 to $80,000. The justification with this is it's a strategic investment into Telcoin's future. And I think we've talked about this throughout the additional meetings prior to this. But I think we all feel that by covering some of these upfront costs, that we can attract innovative developers that's going to enhance our ecosystem and drive long-term growth in the future. So. So the conclusion and funding request, the TAN Council recommends approving this proposal and allocating an operational budget of $75,000 to $80,000 in the initial 12-month pilot program. This investment will effectively incentivize new app developers, and we could use targeted marketing to find those app developers, or there's other discussions to happen after this proposal as well. Our next steps would be obtaining formal approval for the relevant stakeholders and community for the proposed budget and program guidelines. And again, if we want to divide and conquer budget versus execution, we can certainly discuss that, and we can revise this proposal. But we definitely need to review or establish a review and approval process with the TAN Council, regardless if it's within this one or a new initiative. And then we launched the developer incentive program and promote it through our targeted marketing and all of our communication channels, social media here in Discord, Telegram, whatever we have to do to try to attract the folks that we're looking for. So that I know I mentioned it a few times. I'd like to open it up to some conversations on if this should be an all-encompassing proposal or should we do this as a budget proposal and then you create the guardrails, guidelines, and review process in a secondary proposal.
Nice, thank you very much. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think personally, we can kind of use funds in the TAN Council safe, so we don't actually need to make a kind of budgetary proposal in that regard. We don't need to make a TEL-IP.
Okay.
We have the funds for this, so I would say we just need one single proposal, and yeah, I think it would be great to get all that information into it, or as much of the like guidelines and process that we can.
Okay, perfect.
So I guess that would kind of probably be the area to focus on now,
Okay.
and try and get those as fleshed out as possible. So um, yeah, it requires a bit of forward planning, I guess, but
Yep.
it's always up to, we can always create a new proposal later on, amending this one if need be. But it would be good to try and get kind of as much of it on paper as possible, first time
Okay.
round. But
Will
yeah.
do. Yep. And then to address Ty's concern, so
Mm.
what he mentioned here is after a developer becomes a GSMA member, and what happens if they don't or can't deliver on the project that we initially approved and help them get over the initial sign-on barrier. So is there a way we could have a condition that they have a working prototype of the proposed app, which then can be evaluated before any incentives are supplied?
Yeah. So there is definitely potential for that. It kind of almost might be too constraining though.
That's
Parker,
that was my initial take. Yeah, was the
Yeah.
constraints that means any things that are not quite functional yet that we could a working prototype. Even though it's a great idea, that means we would kind of limit ourselves on what we could approve and get on, signed on.
Hmm.
I mean, I think
Yeah.
like a review, like if we had like a review board at the end of like the year, just to just go over just those particular cases where you know they are still waiting for things to come together to create the product or whatever. But so long as there's like progress being made and whatnot, then like that review board can acknowledge that and approve it regardless or something like that, just to keep those, just to at least keep those projects involved and without those constraints, you know,
Hmm.
happening. That's just
Yeah.
my opinion. I love the idea. I was gonna say split it in between a budget proposal and then an execution proposal, but if we can just use from the safe, then that would be even better.
Correct, right?
And
Hmm.
I'd like to know because regarding your proposal, I- I'd like to know if it wouldn't be more interesting to reward the first one to build on the Telcoin network rather than paying for GSMA membership. As there are already at least 400 companies in the GSMA ecosystem, and
Mhm.
as we want to, the goal is to move quickly. So I'm afraid this process might be take too long in order to wait them to apply for GSMA and show their product. So it would be better to prioritize those who are already members of GSME and can create an application on the TAN, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess that would be quite neat. I mean, if there is a application developer who's already part of the GSMA, that's almost better, right? Because they're kind of already in there. They can still be, they can still apply for this. I guess it would be more like a grant for them, but I don't see why not. And yeah, in terms of kind of speed of execution standpoint,
But but there's
um,
nothing stopping us from proposing a bounty either, right? From some of the safe coffers.
yeah, yeah,
You know, so to your point, if we apply, if we maybe we made a bounty and said, hey, we set some hard lines in the sand, and the first one to reach them, right? They get rewarded.
hmm. Do you
Yeah, I
have any
guess maybe
idea?
the first three who are already GSMA members who built on the network got a bounty, and the same for the first three who become a GSMA member in order to build on the TAN are um, have got their membership paid by us. Why not? But I think it's not fair for people who are already on GSMA member
Hmm.
and who will be the first to build on the network. I think we have to reward them, the first to come. No?
Yeah, I see your point.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think we should definitely incentivize the ones GSM members already. Do we even know what the turnaround rate is like for people who want to join the GSMA? Like, how long does that process even take?
I think TGC, the game company, uh, have either applied or are preparing to apply, but I'm not sure beyond that. But by the sounds of things, it's not a overly long process. Oh, here we go. Bilal might have some more info for us.
Yeah, hi guys.
Hey.
Yeah, so yeah, you're right. we are in process of understanding how to apply for the membership. So I'm already in touch with somebody from GSMA, and they're guiding us on the application process. They also have an approval process internally. From the timelines, it looks like it's going to take anywhere between 4 to 5 days once the application is submitted.
Oh wow, speedy.
Yeah, it's fairly quick.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not bad.
Nice.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah. When I heard 4 to 5, I
But
thought it was going to be four to
yeah,
five months. Yeah.
no. And yeah, but there's a slight catch.
Mm,
Their membership calendar runs from 1st of April to 31st of March. And, it's very much ideal that you kind of sign up towards the start of this process. Unless you still
mm,
pay 100% of the fee after 6 months. They have a slight discount, but nonetheless you end up paying 75% of the fee uh, minimum, regardless of when you join during the year. Yeah.
oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah, that might change things then. There's some serious
I
seasonality
did
there.
use I did use the term up
Absolutely.
to.
So timing is very important.
Yeah.
Yeah, Leo, I did use the term up to $15,000, so we could, whatever point in the season, the sign up season it is, we could,
Hmm.
definitely adapt to that.
Hmm. Yeah, it does sound like we would want to be front loading those around April time though. So, um,
Yeah.
yeah, bit of a weird scenario there, I guess. Um, Something to consider for sure. I guess that makes Optiseem's point more relevant that being able to incentivize existing GSMA members, um, so we can maybe spread out the number of businesses that are joining, um, could kind of benefit us, could help there. But it's a good point to bear in mind.
So do you think generally like it would put like a bad taste in other GSMA members' mouths because we're onloading new members, or is that like a net positive for the GSMA, or
I think
prioritizing obviously GSMA members is just going to be flat out just a better route?
getting more sign-ups for the GSMA is good for everyone. I'm pretty sure Paul mentioned when he first read about this IP that his reaction was like, "Oh, have you told the GSMA you're doing this? They'll love it." So I think it's kind of in
I do
everyone's
remember him
interest.
saying that.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
the GSMA and the GSMA's members want to be part of a bigger network, so the more the merrier in that regard. Um, and I mean, if they didn't want people joining, they wouldn't make the process 4 to 5 days. It would be 4 to 5 months probably. So um, I think I think that's kind of one of the strengths of this proposal is that it really benefits and aligns a lot of different parties, and we can kind of Telcoin can be seen as this force for good for helping expand the GSMA. Um, so yeah, it's getting onboarding new members as well as potentially um, helping existing ones. All sounds pretty good.
Yeah, so I'll do some revisions to the proposal as it stands now, based on these conversations, and put forth something a little more encompassing on the execution side, and as well as think about how to also incentivize current GSMA members, so there is some incentive for them to participate as well. It's a great point.
Awesome. I think another point to mention is we should really strive to uh, onboard companies which actually make sense. So, like, the game company is a clear one that there is a lot of overlap both with the kind of mobile network side of things and mobile gaming, and then the finances and everything in between. So we we should probably make a note of that in the proposal when we're thinking about um, essentially criteria on which we'll be judging applications, that they should make sense and there should be a lot of overlap in what we're building and alignment. Yeah. And then the other point you raised about having prototypes and making sure we're kind of backing the right projects. Parker actually mentioned there is potential for we could kind of create some contracts where, you know, uh, if they kind of fail to deliver a working or viable prototype by a certain date, then we can kind of almost claw back the funds or something like that. Or if they don't deploy to telco and network within a given time period, it kind of voids that offer. Something like that. If that answers your question about kind of prototyping and stuff, that should be doable.
Okay.
Yeah, just another thing to consider, and maybe post in the forum, keep the chat going in there. Parker was actually suggesting uh, we kind of vote on this soon. So he was saying Monday, but it sounds like we've still got a fair bit of stuff to consider and get down on paper. So that
Yeah,
might be a bit ambitious, but
yeah, and the wife and I are leaving for some vacation, so I'll be
oh,
back
nice.
on Tuesday.
Okay,
Um, so yeah, I'll be out this weekend, but
all good. Yeah, I think that was ambitious anyway. You guys can discuss it on your holiday. Come back with some good ideas.
yeah, I don't think my wife is interested, but yeah.
So
Uh,
can we still break it down into two proposals? Like one being, yeah, we will, budget this, or I guess, do we even not need to because it's coming out of the TAN safe?
Right, we don't.
yeah, I think we're kind of good for budget. Steve-O's kind of laid out the rough costs, and we're happy with those, and we can cover them with the council funds. So we don't need to go to the treasury or anything. So it doesn't really require a separate application or improvement proposal. So, does anyone else have any points they'd like to raise or questions or anything? Anyone from the audience or other? And if there's nothing on that, does anyone have any more general questions, um, or anything they want to discuss at all?
Any reason why Parker wanted to get this thing pushed through quickly?
I think it's because for the likes of TGC and Co, um, we do have, potential very good applicants for this improvement proposal. So it would be kind of onboarding them and helping them become members of the GSMA ASAP. Um, yeah, would be nice to be on the faster side of things, and I'm sure Bilal would agree. But we also need to make sure we're doing it right and considering as much as we can early on. So it's about striking
Yeah,
that
well,
balance, I think.
while I'm out, if anybody does want to, type up edits, and then we can put just when we get back, I can just add it to or edit the proposal. If you guys want to take a stab at writing some of the edits that we discussed today, to save some more time.
That would be great, yeah. And this recording should be out tomorrow as well, in case anyone wants to run through and just jot down some notes. But yeah,
Okay.
should be good. Yeah, if there's no more for any more, then happy to call it there.
I'm good here.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm good. I'll go over this again tomorrow or this weekend, and I'll try to write something up and send it over to you, Steve.
That'd be awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you, Lib. Yeah.
Nice. Great work, team.
Thank you, guys.
Good. See you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Take it. Cheers.
Thank
Bye.
you all.